As we were speaking with the brothers on the way up, the police system here in the United States, it is a system based upon terrorism. So their point is what? What is the point of the police? To strike fear in the hearts of the inhabitants of a city. Through the fear of what? Fear of getting tickets, the fear of going to jail, the fear of spending money, the fear of having your property taken away. They attempt to control the people through this act. Now, in no way are we saying that this is wrong. We are not saying this is wrong, but we're saying let's be fair. Let's be fair. Let's not keep the masses ignorant regarding what terrorism actually is. This is an act of terrorism. Throughout the world today, you have so many countries and institutions and organizations, and their goal is what? Nuclear technology, nuclear power. To create the nuclear bomb. America with one of the biggest nuclear arsenals in the world. Its ally, what is known to them as Israel, also with a huge arsenal of nuclear weapons. Russia, a huge arsenal of nuclear weapons. What is nuclear power? By creating these nuclear bombs, atomic bombs, what is this other than an act of terrorism? Colin Powell. Colin Powell. It was his methodology when he ran the armed forces of this nation. His methodology was what? Amass your power. Amass weapons. Amass strength, military strength. Amass it for what? To deter the use of it. What does this mean, to deter the use of it? Meaning, get so many nuclear bombs in your hand that anyone will be scared of attacking you. Fear will reside in their hearts against your nation. Fear will reside in their hearts against your nation. Why? Because of the weaponry you have, the strength that you have amassed. So what is this other than terrorism? Let it be noted that 1 out of every, 20% to 25% of the earth's population is Muslim. So 1 out of every 4 or 5 people is Muslim. You have whole continents, the majority of which is Muslim. Out of all of those countries, only one country has atomic weapons. Out of every Muslim country you can count, there is one country that has atomic weapons. Pakistan, that's it. Again, we are not speaking about the legality of this or that in the Islamic sense. As of yet, we are not speaking of that. And America, ya ikhwan, the United States has been the only country to ever use an atomic weapon. August 6th, 1945, the American bomber Enola Gay drops what is called Little Boy. On a province of Japan known as Hiroshima, directly killing almost 70,000 people. By the end of that year, meaning what? September, October, and November, 3 months. The total deaths went from anywhere to 90,000 to 140,000 people. 69% of the buildings of that town approximately were destroyed. These are only approximate measures. Because then the Allied forces, they put a ban on Japan that they can't let anyone know exactly what happened at Hiroshima. This was followed by the atomic bombing of the city Nagasaki. All of this, ya ikhwan, to firstly lay down the sense that do not limit terrorism to Muslims. We will come to that fact. We will come to the standing of Islam upon these acts and the acts that you find the Muslims doing today. We will come to that. We will come to that. But do not be hypocritical upon these things. So when you find the Muslims speaking of suicide bombings, do not be hypocritical. For you have many writings of your own speaking about what? Suicide bombings. In Israel, the first people to commit suicide bombings, or in what is presently known as Israel, the first people to commit suicide bombings were not the Muslims. They were the Jews. They were the first ones who did suicide bombings to get their country. In the 17th century, a famous writer, again applauded by the Western masses, known as John Milton. He has many books. He has poetry and prose, the most famous of which are 2 poems that he wrote, one called Paradise Lost and one called Paradise Regained. He also wrote another book called Samson Agonistes. And Samson Agonistes, which is based upon a story from the Bible, ends with this man committing suicide. And along with his suicide, bringing down a building, killing 3,000 innocent people that were residing in that building. If you go to the universities today in the States, they read this work and they applaud it. As an act of art. This is back in the 17th century, ya ikhwan. So these acts are not limited to the Muslims. The largest amount